All right, we'll begin with the top story at this moment, pictures that came in just about 15 to 20 minutes ago. Now, Indian Air Force has landed an aircraft on the Yamuna Expressway. This happened at 6:45 a.m. today. This is to test in emergency cases whether the Indian Air Force can actually carry out an emergency drill. Suppose if they were to use a highway as a runway, would they be able to do so or not? So that feasibility test is something that actually took place. These are pictures on your screen that we are getting you here on Headlines today. The IAF, Indian Air Force drill. This is of course a Mirage aircraft, as Jugal Purohit was actually telling us, and in a moment we'll try going across to Jugal also to get in more information as to what actually happened. Obviously, there were a lot of passengers. Traffic was blocked. Most of the passengers did not know why on, a relatively free highway, easy highway, was there a traffic jam or a traffic snarl. What made traffic stop? And then eventually they discovered this. Jugal Purohit is now with us with all the latest. Jugal, as we were discussing earlier, I mean, commuters were taken by surprise. I mean, this is the last thing that you expect, that you're driving on a highway and suddenly the plane lands on the highway.
Absolutely, Sanket. But keeping that, on one side of this, on one side, the fact is that air forces world over have used or rather resorted to this, route whereby they test the emergency landing facilities on major highways and arterial roads of the country, and the Indian Air Force is of course no exception to that. We are given to understand now that this was an elaborate exercise that the Air Force undertook along with assistance and knowledge of the authorities in the state of Uttar Pradesh, where this highway basically runs and connects two large parts of the state with Delhi. Apart from that, the district authorities, the district police, the district magistrate, all of them were involved in the planning of this, which has been going on, I'm given to understand by my sources, for at least 3 to 4 weeks now. The Indian Air Force had in fact made a selection of sorts from different roads, and this, as I said, as we've been reporting, is going to be a part of a nationwide drill whereby different major highways and alternative sites will be unlocked towards utilizing for Indian Air Force emergency landings, be it the transport fleet or be it the fighter fleet. Now, I'm given to understand for 3 to 4 weeks this planning was going on, and finally it was decided that the first such landing will be carried out along the Yamuna Expressway, and today was the chosen date for the same. 6:40 a.m., as you rightly pointed out, is when the Mirage 2000 landed after doing a sortie over that area a little while earlier. Now, I'm given to understand that this particular plane took off from a base in central India. The Indian Air Force operates the Mirage 2000s from the Gwalior Air Force Base in Madhya Pradesh, which is not located too far as the crow flies from this particular spot. And as I said, that this is an exercise which air forces world over do. Pakistan, in fact, has very often boasted about having highways on which fighter planes could take off and land. And the Indian Air Force has also, in a sense, responded to and followed this particular route taken by many towards activating its major highways and arterial roads as emergency landing sites for its planes.
All right, Jugal, do stay on with us. In fact, let's quickly go across to Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur, who joins us on the phone line right now. Thanks very much, sir, for speaking to Headlines today. This seems to be, a strategy of the Indian Air Force to check, its emergency preparedness.
It's not exactly emergency preparedness. It is something which doesn't happen off the cuff. It is planned. And just to correct the report, one doesn't respond to some other countries landing on runways. This is something which is planned in advance. You can well imagine the civil agencies who would also have been kept in the loop when the infrastructure project was coming up. I do not think that any civil agency would make a road so strong to take on an aircraft, whereas it is just meant to take on public vehicles. So, it's a planned thing. And it's alternate operational surfaces. It is just not for an emergency.
Okay, it's just not for an emergency. That's what Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur actually says. Thanks very much, sir, for joining us at this moment. In fact, just a short while back, we actually showed you two distinct pictures of how, as Jugal described, alternate landing sites is what is actually discovered. You saw a couple of years back, these pictures actually came in from Leh at the Daulat Beg Oldie, where that giant on the right-hand side of your screen, the C-130J Hercules actually landed. It led a huge cloud of smoke behind it, or this is dust rather, behind it. And today we see this sort of an emergency landing, unconventional landing, because it's not on a runway but on a highway. We'll track all the latest as far as this particular story is concerned. Let's make a move on now.